Hey everybody, it's me as always, your host Guillermo896, and this is Welshman's vlog number 8. For those of you who may be new to my channel and know nothing about this video series, this is where I talk about news that's going on in the comic book world, or any film and movie news that I want to talk about, as well as just general updates on my channel and what's going on with me, and also where I show off any recent graphic novel or trade paperback pickups that I've made over the past few weeks. There's quite a lot I want to talk about in this video, so without further ado, let's get into it. First and foremost, I have a quick announcement to make, and that is that I've recently joined a group channel called DarkAvengerINCPlus, where on that channel I've done some in-depth review videos. So if you guys are interested in checking out that channel, I'll leave a link below in the description, and I'll also tell you, aside from myself, whose channels you also have to look forward to. Big shout out and a big thank you to Chris, DarkAvengerC86, for putting this channel into motion and bringing everybody together. So on the team itself, we have, like I said, myself, and as well as Spider-Man 1991, the great legend himself, R.Dowdy95. We have the Mount Vernon Kid. We have Jeremy, aka JL Ghoul. We have a good friend of mine, Simon, Mr. I Talk Apple. We also have Shadow Wolf 000. And finally, we have Smashmaster95. So those guys and myself, we make up the Dark Avenger Inc. Plus team. Excuse the looking off screen, guys. As always with these vlog videos, I have some notes up on my laptop which is off screen. So if I look off screen a bit during this video, that's just me sort of finding my notes and finding my place and what I want to talk about. So on to comic book news. It's recently been announced that Walter Simonson of The Mighty Thor from back in the 1980s will be coming on board Mark Waid's Indestructible Hulk series, I believe in April, to do an issue of the series. It's not clear as of yet, from the news that I've read so far, whether or not Simonson will be just filling in for one issue, or whether or not he will be replacing Len Lai Yu, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, the current artist on Indestructible Hulk, as the regular series artist. But I will leave a link below in the description to the announcement, which also has a really cool teaser image of the cover for the issue that Walt Simonson will be illustrating, and it looks as if Thor will be showing up in the Indestructible Hulk series, as the teaser image has Hulk holding Thor's hammer, Mjolnir. The Uncanny X-Men series by Brian Michael Bendis and Chris Bachalo will be launching next month. But it's just been announced that a new artist will be coming on after issue 5. I believe it's for a fill-in issue, I'm not really sure. But the artist is Frazer Irving, who I believe did some interior artwork on Grant Morrison's Bruce Wayne The Return Home storyline, which was basically Bruce Wayne or Batman fighting his way back through various different time periods to make his way back to the modern day world, or the modern day world set within the old DC New 52 universe before the New 52 reboot back in September 2011. Marvel have also recently announced a all-female X-Men book, which will be written by Brian Wood of DMZ, Northlanders, Demo, Wolverine and the X-Men Alpha and Omega, and a bunch of other titles that Brian Wood has written and is currently writing. Also The Massive is another series that Brian Wood is writing, and also the Conan book or series over at Dark Horse, as well as The Massive. Artist Olivier Coipel will be the artist on the series. The new all-female X-Men book will feature such female X-Men characters as Storm, Rogue, Jubilee, Kitty Pryde, Rachel Grey, and Psylocke. Just as a personal note, I've never read a female-centric comic book series before. Now, that will change with one of my recent pickups, which I'll show you later on. But because Brian Wood is a writer that I've recently got into, and so far from the 2 series that I've read by him, I've really enjoyed both, so I'll definitely be picking up this new all-female X-Men centric series when it comes out. Just to show you an example of some of Olivier Coipel's artwork. This is from the Thor series that he did back in, I believe, just bear with me guys, this is from second printing, originally published in, oh, this is from 2011. This is the most, well, barring the Mighty Thor, Thor God of Thunder by Jason Aaron and Esad Ribic. This is one of the most recent Thor series, like I said, by J. Michael Straczynski and Olivier Coipel. Let me just show you an example of some of Coipel's artwork. As you can see, there is a really cool fight scene between Thor and Tony Stark, aka Iron Man. And there, I really like Olivier Coipel's artwork, so I'm really interested in seeing what Coipel's art style will look like in the female-centric book. I'll just show you another example of some of the artwork, as you can see there. So I just thought I'd show you a brief example of some of his artwork, for those of you who may be interested in picking up the series. Next up from DC, there's been a few creative team shake-ups. First and foremost, Robert Venditti of Exo Manowar and of Exo Manowar over at Valiant will be taking over the Demon Knight series from the previous writer Paul Cornell, who left the book with issue 15, and so Venditti has begun his run with issue 16, which I believe came out last week. He was originally going to be writing the Constantine series, which will be essentially a replacement series in the regular DC New 52 universe of the recently announced cancellation of John Constantine Hellblazer from DC's Vertigo line of comics. So Venditti was originally going to be writing that series, but it's recently been announced that the current writer-creative team of Jeff Lemire and Ray Fawkes of Justice League Dark will also be writing the Constantine series, as in an interview with DC's editors basically said that Robert Venditti thought that writing both Demon Knights and Constantine and Exo Manowar was essentially one book too many, so they decided to go with Jeff Lemire and Ray Fawkes, which is fine by me, because I haven't picked up the Jeff Lemire Justice League Dark run on the series just yet, but I'll definitely be picking up the next trade of Justice League Dark when that comes out. Also, Christy Marks will be replacing the original writer of the original new writer for the Birds of Prey series. It was originally going to be Jim Zabkavich of Skull Kickers over at Image, but it's recently been announced that Christy Marks will be replacing Jim Zabkavich as the writer. Also, Jim Starlin will be taking over the writing of the Stormwatch series under the New 52. Some of you may know Jim Starlin from him writing the famous Death of the Second Robin, Jason Todd, Death in the Family, and also the Marvel event Infinity Gauntlet, which featured the Avengers going up against the Titan Thanos. And also Jim Starlin wrote another series called Dreadstar, I believe is the name of the series. If I got the title wrong, I'll put an annotation in somewhere in this video, giving the correct name of the series if I got it wrong. So he'll be taking over Stormwatch. Let's see. There'll be a permanent artist change on both Teen Titans and Nightwing. Brett Booth, who's the current writer on Teen Titans, will be moving over to the Nightwing series, and Eddie Barrows will be moving over from Nightwing to Teen Titans. So as far as I know, this is a permanent artist change. So for all of you fans out there of Teen Titans and Nightwing, you may be interested to look at the new artist change when the issues come out that these guys decide to illustrate. Also, as of issue 19, Red Hood and the Outlaws will be getting a new creative team, and it will be the same creative team who's currently writing the Talon series, again under the New 52. The writer is James Tynion IV, and the illustrator or the artist I should say, is Mikoi Soyen. This has been decided as Scott Lobdell will be moving over to the Superman series under the New 52. So for those of you out there who are fans of the Red Hood and the Outlaws series, you have a new creative team to look forward to shortly. What else do I want to talk about? I'll put a link below to an interview with the DC Comics editor-in-chief Bob Harris and the editorial director Bobby Chase about the recent creative team shakeups over in DC. So if you guys are interested in reading what these guys have to say about that, like I said, I'll put a link in the description. Andy Diggle will be joining Robert Kirkman on the Thief of Thieves series to help co-write it with issue 14. Cullen Bunn and Josie Jones have announced a Viking-era Frankenstein series from Oni Press called Helheim. So for those of you out there who are fans of Cullen Bunn from his work on Venom and Six Gun, which I believe is also from Oni Press, you have a new series by Cullen Bunn to look forward to. The new writer for the Swamp Thing series after Scott Snyder and Yannick Paquette leave the series with issue 18 has been announced. It's Charles Soule of the Image Series 27. He'll be replacing Scott Snyder on the writing duties for the series. And the new artist will be Kano, who I believe did a fill-in issue with issue number 10, which was a fight scene, or essentially a battle between Alec Holland, aka Swamp Thing, and a recently reincarnated, or brought back from the dead, Anton Arcane. So Kano will be the new artist as of issue 19. I'll also put a link below to an interview with Charles Soule about his plans for the series in the description. So if you guys are interested in finding out what Soule's take on the Swamp Thing series or his ideas for the series are, like I said, I'll put a link in the description to an interview with him. Also, for you fans of the Masters of the Universe comic series out there, DC have recently announced that the series will now become a monthly or a bi-monthly series. The first story arc will consist of a 6-issue mini-series, which will be written by Keith Giffen, and the art will be by Pop Man, M-H-A-N, however you choose to pronounce that. So I'll put a link below to a teaser image for the cover for the next issue. Also, Green Arrow will be getting a new creative team as of issue 17, which will be writer Jeff Lemire and artist Andre Sorrentino of iVampire. And according to an interview with Jeff Lemire, if you haven't been picking up the series, then issue 17 will be completely new reader friendly. So for those of you out there who have been wanting to jump on Green Arrow, then issue 17 will be your go-to issue. On to movies and films. Not really a lot to talk about. Y the Last Man, which is a series by Brian K. Vaughan from DC's Vertigo line of comics, has recently found a director for a big screen adaptation for the series, and the director will be Dan Trachtenberg. I haven't seen any of this guy's films personally, but For those of you out there who are fans of the series and have might have been wanting to see a big screen adaptation, then that's the guy who will be directing the film. I've also recently discovered a fan film of Y the Last Man. I'll put a link below in the description, as it's a really cool film. As I've said, it's fan made, and I have to say, from reading the first 2 volumes of the series a few years ago, from what I can remember, the fan film actually follows the source material of the first 2 volumes really well, from what I can remember reading. So if you guys are interested in checking that out, I'll put a link below in the description. Also, there'll be a new Sin City film, which will be directed by, again, Robert Rodriguez and Frank Miller, and also recent star in the Batman The Dark Knight Rises film, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, will be playing a role within that film. So for those of you out there who are fans of the Sin City comics by Frank Miller, which were published by Dark Horse, or if you're a fan of the big screen adaptation from a fair few years ago, you have a new film to look forward to, which the title will be A Dame to Kill For. So recently that's been slated for a October the 4th, 2013 release date. So for those of you out there who are looking forward to that film, that'll be a date to put on your calendars. The obviously the release date might change, but that's what that's the release date I have with the information that I have for this vlog video at the moment. Guillermo Del Toro has announced that he is indeed writing a Justice League Dark-esque movie set within the supernatural world of the DC Universe. Now, I do have the Hellboy duology directed by Guillermo Del Toro, Hellboy 1 and Hellboy 2, The Golden Army. I haven't checked out those films yet, but from clips I've seen of the films on YouTube, Guillermo Del Toro does have a very good understanding of the world of the supernatural from various clips I've seen from parts of the movies and whatnot. So again, none of these characters have been confirmed yet, but the film could feature characters such as Deadman, Zatanna, Swamp Thing, the Demon, Etrigan, and my personal favourite character from DC's Vertigo line of comics, John Constantine. So for those of you out there who might be looking forward to that film, Guillermo del Toro has indeed confirmed that he is writing the script for it. Finally, I do have another favour to ask of you guys. For those of you who might have been surfing the web recently, you might have heard that DC have recently cancelled 2 of the New 52 series, DC Presents and I, Vampire. I, Vampire simply cannot be cancelled. This cannot come to pass. Not to sound like a fanboy, but I've really enjoyed this series so far from what I've read. This is the first volume, Tainted Love, which is written by Joshua Fialkov and illustrated by Andre Sorrentino, and this first trade collects the first 6 issues of the series. I'll leave a link below for you guys to purchase this first volume, and also volume 2, which is called Rise of the Vampires. Another fellow comic book reader and reviewer on YouTube, James Donnelly, recently did a vlog video basically titled Save I, Vampire. I have to completely and utterly agree with Mr. James Donnelly. I think this series is being cancelled very prematurely, as I believe Joshua Fialkov does have more plans for this series than what he's recently tweeted on Twitter. But like I said, I'll leave a link below to both volumes 1 and 2 for you guys to be able to purchase the series. Please go out, and if you haven't read the series so far, this is just a fantastic comic book series. Yes, it is a vampire book, and from the front cover of this first trade, it does look like a Twilight ripoff, but Twilight it is most certainly not. This is a very dark, grim and gritty vampire series, and the writing by Joshua Fialkov is fantastic, matched by Andre Sorrentino's equally fantastic artwork, which is made very dark, grim and gritty from the colorist, from the inks that the colorist uses on the series, which is Marcello Miolo. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Let me see. Marcello Miaolo. However you choose to pronounce that. The character work and the exchanges between the characters and the dialogue, and the various different personalities that Joshua Fialkov gives each of our main characters, Andrew Bennett and Mary Queen of Blood, as well as the secondary characters, are all fully fleshed out three-dimensional characters who you actually become really invested in by the end of this first story arc. And the ending to this first story arc, when I first read it, left my jaw on the floor. I couldn't believe that Fialkov did what he did with the ending, but nonetheless, that made me completely and utterly invested in the series from that ending, and I wanted the second trade to be readily available to me to pick up off my shelf of graphic novels or trade paperbacks and read the next installment of the series straight away. I'll just see if I can show you another example of Sorrentino's fantastic artwork. As you can see there and there. As I've said, I really don't want this series to end, as I'm really enjoying I've really enjoyed what I've read thus far. I'll definitely be picking up Volume 2, Rise of the Vampires. Like I said, I'll leave links below in the description for you guys to be able to pick up Volumes 1 and 2 of the series. Or if you don't want to pick up the trades, go out, pick up all the back issues of the series. Let's get the sales numbers up and convince DC that while this book might not be selling well, this is a fantastic series and it shouldn't be cancelled prematurely. So like I said, pick up the trades, pick up the single issues, do whatever you have to do to read this series, get the sales numbers up, and let's get this series off DC's chopping block. In terms of recent reviews and recent pickups that I've made over the past few weeks, I've recently reviewed another series that Mr. James Donnelly, the same fellow YouTuber and comic book reviewer and reader, who, like I said, did a vlog about the cancellation of iVampire and said that he too doesn't want the series to end. I've also reviewed another series that Mr. James Donnelly holds very highly, The Last of the Greats, which is also written by Joshua Fialkov and illustrated by Brent Peoples. And as you can see from the spine, this is published by Image Comics. In terms of recent reviews on the Dark Avenger Inc. Plus channel that I've done a review of the first volume of Brian Wood's DMZ series, Volume 1, On the Ground, and this first trade collects the first 5 issues of the series. Also, speaking of Brian Wood, I've recently reviewed on my channel, Gambit896, I've also reviewed Northlanders Volume 1, Savannah the Return. This is also written by Joshua Fialkov, also written by Brian Wood and illustrated by David Gunn Felice, and both DMZ and Northlanders, as you can see, hopefully from the you can tell from the spines actually, are both published by DC under their Vertigo imprint. In terms of new graphic novels or trade paperbacks, just bear with me guys and I'll just locate them amongst my pile of trades that I have here to put back in chronological order. I've recently picked up the second trade of Jeff Lemire's Animal Man. This is volume 2, Animal vs. Man, and this collects issues 7 through 11, plus the 0 issue and the annual number 1. So that's Animal Man volume 2. I've also picked up the first volume of Brian Azzarello, Cliff Chang and Tony Aiken's Wonder Woman. This first volume is called Blood and it collects the first 6 issues of the series. And I've also picked up another series from DC's New 52, which is a continuation of a series, or the only series actually that I have in full from DC's Old 52 universe. It is Green Lantern Volume 1, Sinestro, from DC's New 52, and this collects, I believe, collects issues 1 through 6 of the series. So those are the recent pickups that I've, or recent trades that I picked up recently. Just want to end this video with some shout-outs to some of my fellow YouTubers. These aren't in any particular order, so without further ado, Dark Avengers C86, Chris, his brother Mike, Dude of Rock 18, all the guys over on Dark Avenger Inc., Sofa King Matt, another fellow YouTuber and comic book reader and Green Lantern fan. So big thumbs up to that, Matt. Who else do we have? John, DaCosta DC Comics, My Bunter 1, Audrey, a comic book mom, Hi, my name is Mr. J, Davidus Raccoonus, or David to his friends, MAWWW01, SJ Taz 1, Ronin Reviews, White James Brandon, Mellow Modesty, 1984 Terminator, who recently did a review of Amazing Spider-Man issue 91, Legendary Collectibles, Hippies Collectibles, who recently finished off showing off his Conan the Barbarian comics in a video, PGH Zombie, as I've said, Mr. James Donnelly, The Captain Cunnings, Ghost Critic, Zombie Batman 16, Fletcher Moore 1, Dr. Monkeybot, Michael Freeman, Scott, Custom Bromstar, Howler Mouse, Tim, David Lee, Larasa, who recently put up a video about the Non-Humans series from Image, Ben, Mr. Fix-It Smash, Gary, One's the Angelique, Tony, Cursed Man, and finally another Ben of YouTube, Ben BA Comics. So big shoutouts to all those guys. I highly recommend you check out all those guys' channels. And that about concludes this vlog video, guys. Sorry this one was a little bit longer than normal, but I just felt there was a lot I wanted to talk about in terms of news in the comic book world and various bits and pieces. So thank you everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. As always, feel free to leave some comments in the comment section. And until next time, this is Scambit896 signing off, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care, guys.